Hello everyone, I'm Asia Dang. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel. Today is a budget video, and as you can see already by my appearance, we had a lot going on in April. I guess we should just get right into it. Food was 12, dogs was 2%, personal 8%, transportation I only spent $5, so that's like whatever. 3% for equipment, 10% for sinking funds, 37% for investments, and then 5% for donations. My personal budget was 8%, which isn't that bad, but as you can tell, I spent a lot on beauty things because Brian and I are fully vaccinated. I'm feeling good, so I was comfortable enough going to the hairdresser. I got my hair cut, I got my facials, I got my lash extensions back. She's back. I got my eyebrows done. I got my nails done. It was a whole thing in April. Now I got bangs because I told Carrie, my hairdresser, my stylist, I was like, I want you to make me look, let me get the picture actually. I found this picture when I went back to Hawaii, and I was like, I want this haircut. And he, gave me the haircut, really. I've been wanting bangs for a year. Now that I have them, it's the age-old story of, I don't know if I really like them. Because sometimes I feel like, girl, you look like Audrey Hepburn. You're killing it. And then other times I look at myself and I think, you look like Alfalfa. Anyways, I'm glad I chopped my hair off. It was getting a little bit too long, so I actually wanted to go here, but Carrie's like, you need to slow down. I was like, fine, just give me bangs then. I'm not asking you if you love it. Let's just make that very clear, because I can't grow it out in a day. So if you don't like it, you're just gonna be stuck with this for a couple days or a couple months. But yeah, so that's that. It's just, honestly, it feels good. Feels good to be back. Everyone feels good that everyone's working again. Everyone is obviously wearing the masks, still trying to be really safe, but it's picking up. It's getting lively back in California, or in LA particular, so it feels good. Oh yeah, I totally forgot to cancel a subscription. So I have a subscription for Calm, which is an app on your phone, and I got it last year because I was struggling I think at that point we were all kind of struggling for sleep, and I tried the Calm app, to give me nice sounds of the ocean going to sleep, or Matthew McConaughey reading me a story, and it's just really not my thing. I used it once. Brian walked in, I normally go to sleep before Brian, and Brian walked in on a guy talking to me in my sleep, and he thought it was the weirdest thing. So didn't really use that, and then I totally forgot to cancel the subscription, so now I'm paying $60 for the next year for a subscription that I'm not going to use, which is kind of a bummer. But I did cancel it once I realized what I had done. So next year it won't be an issue, but that was a bummer. So my dogs was only 2%. I did a whole video, an individual video about what I spent on my dogs in the month. It wasn't the month of April, it was the month of whatever month becomes before April, January, February, March. I'll post that video up. It goes into full detail about what I spent the entire month on my dogs. And there was a huge to-do on my MSTRPLN IG about how I spent a lot of money on my dogs. And yeah, relative to maybe what you spend, what I spend on my dogs, or just what I spend in general, might be a lot. But in relation to my income, it's only 2%. It's all relative. That's why on these budget videos, I just talk about my percentages, because I just feel like that is what you should be comparing your budget to my budget with. It's not the numbers that I'm spending, it's the numbers in relation to my income, so I just want to make that very, very clear. Sinking funds is really exciting because in May I will be done with my sinking funds, and I've had some people ask me to do an updated sinking funds video, and I'm definitely going to do that probably in June, because by June I will be 100% done with my sinking funds for the entire year. So what does that mean? My car insurance will be paid in full. My car registration is paid in full. I will have, for the first time in my life, a fully funded holiday fund. I would have saved $5,000 for holiday spending. That includes gifts and that includes travel. So that is incredibly exciting. Fully funded pet insurance in October, fully funded doggy daycare for the boys. Basically every monthly bill that I have is paid for in full. Actually, just every bill that I have is paid full in full by next month. Okay, so we have a couple major updates. The first one is that in the month of April, I paid my taxes. Yay. I know that as an independent contractor, you're kind of encouraged to pay them quarterly. And by encouraged, I mean you get like penalized by not paying quarterly, but I just pay them all in one lump sum. I put all of my savings for my taxes in a high-yielding savings account with Ally, and frankly, I just do not like to give the government money when I don't know what I owe them. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's more mental. I think for me, the story of like Asia's money philosophy is do what you feel is right. You know, I don't feel right about giving the government more money than they probably deserve. I didn't feel right paying my debt in terms of like interest rate. That didn't really make sense to me. Like it made sense to me, but it didn't make emotional sense to me. So I'm very emotional when it comes to my money. So that is why personally I don't do it. I don't care, like go in the comment section like, you know, you could be saving so-and-so amount of money by paying quarterly. I get it. I just don't care. I would rather pay them exactly what I know that I owe them with like deductibles and stuff than just giving them a bunch of money and then just twiddling my thumbs until they pay me back my money. I don't know, it's just a thing. That's where I am. But the moral of the story is I paid my taxes. And I'm bringing that up because because I did that in April, I was able to contribute $30,000 to my SEP for retirement. SEP is a self-employed pension. We just thought, and by we, I mean myself, Todd, my financial advisor, and then Doug, my accountant, we decided that SEP was probably going to be the best way to go because I could throw the most amount of money towards taxes, and because it is tax deferred, I could also like keep more money in my pocket. Unfortunately, because it is tax deferred, once I'm ready to take out the money at retirement age, that is when I would pay my taxes on that. Versus like a Roth, I would pay it now and then it would just grow tax-free. But we decided that even though I would have to pay my taxes probably at a higher income bracket at retirement, that I would still have more money in a SEP than I would, or a $30,000 SEP than I would in a $6,000 backdoor Roth. So that was kind of the thinking about it. I am still learning about retirement because this is only the third year that I'm contributing to retirement, and it's the first year that I'm contributing to a SEP. So it's still, you know, I'm still trying to figure it out. Now here's the update on my home down payment. I may be having a change of heart. And I don't know what's gotten into me is that I'm in like this, I've been thinking a lot about where I am in my life and my age. And, you know, Brian and I don't have kids right now, and I feel like this would be a great opportunity while we don't have kids to like explore and to travel. You know, and I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself to contribute a certain amount of money towards my investments, towards, you know, these house down payment goals. And it just seems like, you know, I honestly just don't know if I'm ready to buy a house yet. And even though this is still like a year in the future, it's like, this is also probably going to be one of our last opportunities to travel. And I'm not saying like travel overseas. I'm honestly just saying we pack up a car and we spend 2 weeks in certain locations driving around the country. And that might seem really weird. And also, I feel like I've been watching on HGTV a lot of Mediterranean life and international house hunters, and maybe that's influencing me some way. But I just see these people and they dropped everything, they sold everything, and they're living the life that they've always wanted. And I think also for me, it's like, I don't know what that is. Like, I don't know what the life is I always wanted. For me, financial stability always meant buying a house, but I'm still really not convinced that I want to buy a house in Houston. So it's just a lot going on in my mind. Our lease is up here in February, and besides my plants, I don't know what I'm going to do with all these plants. Is there like an Airbnb where someone can like just babysit my plants for a year? I'm not sure, but everything else can go into storage, and we can just go from place to place to place to place and just rent out Airbnbs for weeks at a time and just explore. I think that's it, is I feel like I'm not gonna say wasted. I feel like I spent the majority of my high earning career just working towards paying off debt and towards financial security. And that's cool, like I would not change that, like I'm so happy I did that. But now I want to enjoy the benefits of me doing that. And I just feel like, Brian's gonna turn 35. Actually, by the time you watch this video, he would have already turned 35. I'm 34, we're gonna have to start having kids soon. And then I don't wanna say that then I'm stuck, but then our freedom isn't as flexible as it is at this very moment. And not to say that I'm going to stop contributing to this goal that I've always wanted. It's just, maybe my goals have changed now. And what was once the most important thing was to buy a house is now put on the back burner to exploring more. Brian and I are actually doing that. We are going on our first caravan camping trip. And can you imagine Brian and I camping? I don't even know what that looks like, to be honest. But we got the bougiest camper van from CABANA. They have a concierge service for free, actually. And honestly, it was great. I didn't have to do any research. I don't have enough time in the world right now to do that. So I took advantage of it immediately. But that's what we're doing. We're going from LA to Sequoia and back on the 19th. I feel like I'm always pretty conservative when it comes to having fun. Like I prefer planned fun that's always on the back burner to work, because I also like to be successful. But I don't want that success to get in the way of me living life. But I want to experience more things outside of LA. And this whole thing started because with the knowledge that we might be moving to Texas, I'm like, okay, well now we have to explore the West Coast while we're still here. And now it has turned into something like, okay, well now let's just explore the United States. So I'm still going to contribute basically the majority of my money to that investment, just because eventually it will happen. But this month I hate to say only contributed, but as my goal is $8,000, I contributed only $5,000 towards my home down payment, and I spent more on myself, and I don't feel bad about that. And plus, I think I'm also defeated because everyone is buying a house now. So when you see something online, it's gone the next day. And not only is it gone the next day, but someone's paid $200,000 over asking price in cash. And I can't compete with that. It's just a whole bunch of things going on in my mind. And I'm just like, well, maybe it's time to be free. Maybe it's time to be a nomad. But a Beyonce nomad. Because my camper has a bathroom and a shower. We'll just go ahead and say that. Baby steps. We will see how our short 4-day travel up the coast goes. Maybe after that, I'm like, this is so stupid. I do not want to travel all this much anymore. I'm too old for it. Let's buy a effing house. I will be documenting this van life situation because God knows that Brian and I have no idea what we've actually gotten ourselves into. For May, we have the camping trip, which I don't think is going to be very expensive at all. And then I'm definitely not going to spend as much money on beauty as I did April because we don't need to do a lot of things again this soon. And sinking funds will be done. Roth and down payment have now been grouped into one investment category for budgeting sakes. And yeah, that's it. I'm Asia Dang. Thank you so much for watching my April overview budget, what we can expect for May. Let me know in the comments how you did in your budget and how you're feeling. We're almost at the middle of 2021. Almost at the middle of 2021. Can you believe it? We're halfway through the year. Crazy. But yeah, I'm Asia Dang. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next video. Bye.